कौन लेगा? राजू? मैं हे प्रभु लेती हूँ।
ठीक है, मैं भजन देती हूँ। मैं लास्ट में स्टैंड एज वन फैमिली ले लेगी।
वो मेरा है हमेशा।
वो सिर्फ बाय हार्ट है, बस बाकी कुछ मत बोलो।
नहीं
वो स्टैंड एज वन फैमिली में ले लेगी। सबका रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हो गया। अभी स्टडी ग्रुप कौन लेने वाला वो डिसाइड।
मेरा तो ये गूगल मीट कंडक्ट करने का वही बड़ा था।
अरे वो पीछे से लाइट आ रहा है कुछ तो हमारे सर पे भी लाइट।
चलो शुरू करें।
यस
का दिव्या तू शुरू कर फिर पूरा।
ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तन्नमामि सद्गुरुं तन्नमामि। हे प्रभो आनंद दाता ज्ञान हमको दीजिए, शीघ्र सारे दुर्गुणों को दूर हमसे कीजिए। लीजिए हमको शरण में, हम सदाचारी बने, ब्रह्मचिंतक धर्म रक्षक वीर व्रतधारी बने। हे प्रभु आनंद दाता ज्ञान हमको दीजिए। निंदा किसी की हम किसी से भूल कर भी ना करे, सत्य बोले झूठ त्यागे, मेल आपस में रखें। हे प्रभु आनंद दाता ज्ञान हमको दीजिए। प्रेम से हम गुरुजनों की नित्य ही सेवा करे, दिव्य जीवन हो हमारा तेरी यश गाया करे। हे प्रभु आनंद दाता ज्ञान हमको दीजिए, शीघ्र सारे दुर्गुणों को दूर हमसे कीजिए, दूर हमसे कीजिए।
ब्रह्मानन्दं स्वामिनामं ब्रह्मानन्दं स्वामिनामं नेत्रानन्दं स्वामिरूपं नेत्रानन्दं स्वामिरूपं नित्यानन्दं स्वामी गीतं नित्यानन्दं स्वामी गीतं हृदयानन्दं स्वामी बोधं हृदयानन्दं स्वामी बोधं स्वामी ध्यानम् स्वामी ध्यानम् आनन्दं परमानन्दम् स्वामी सेवनमानन्दम् स्वामी सेवनमानन्दम् ॐ गुरुनाथ जय गुरुनाथ ॐ गुरुनाथ जय गुरुनाथ ॐ गुरुनाथ जय गुरुनाथ ॐ गुरुनाथ जय गुरुनाथ शिव गुरुनाथ स्वामीनाथ शिव गुरुनाथ स्वामीनाथ चिन्मय रूप सद्गुरुनाथ ॐ गुरुनाथ जय गुरुनाथ स्वामी सेवनमानन्दम् स्वामी सेवनमानन्दम् हरि ओम्
नाइनटीन 2021 था क्या सूत्र?
21 हो चुका।
हाँ, जो हो गया वही बोल रहा हूँ। 2021
गोपिका का हमने कर दिया ना लास्ट।
नहीं, वो रिवीजन की बात कर रहे हैं ना।
हाँ, क्या हुआ था वो?
We saw that Gopika's love is considered the highest even by sages like Narada. Narad ji ne, though he had summarized everybody's, he did not contradict or anything. उन्होंने इनका बाकी सारे ऋषियों का जो शांडिल्य ऋषि सबका एक्सेप्ट भी किया, but he holds Gopika Bhakti as the highest. So why was Gopika's Bhakti highest? Because उठते बैठते उन्होंने कृष्ण के अलावा कुछ और सोचा ही नहीं. There was nothing else apart from Krishna. They lived Krishna. Their breath was Krishna. Everything was Krishna, Krishna, Krishna for him. So apart from that, they had nothing to think. That is the highest level of bhakti is what we saw last week.
Anybody else? Any other points? I remember sir said to take up an exercise that whatever devotion we consider ours at this moment, let us try to increase it by whatever 15% है तो 30% करते हैं, but let us try to increase our devotion and see how it works. Right? Any other point?
I think that has
चुकून जरी विस्मरण झालं गोपिकांना कृष्णाचं तर त्या व्याकुळ होत असत. हे त्यातलं मेन होतं.
करेक्ट.
ती व्याकुळता आपल्यात पण यायला पाहिजे, विस्मरण पण नको.
बरोबर.
तडफडता desperation he had told desperation to
डेस्परेशन के कुछ अलग वर्ड, बर्निंग एस्पिरेशन ऐसा कुछ बोला.
मुमुक्षुत्व, पण ते तडफडला काय म्हणतात ते आपण
बर्निंग एस्पिरेशन.
burning aspiration.
Correct. Okay, shall we continue?
I listened to the recording. In that there are some things. One is some 4 ways of attitude. Some Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, and Upeksha. Then
that
there was
also.
if you have a surrender attitude, then Lord will become the managing director of our lives. Then crave for the Lord should be such that when your head is held under water, the first time you come out of water, then you should utter Lord's.
Hmm.
Those are the 3 things. I listen to the recording from that time.
Correct. He also told about Gandhi Maharaj saying that, like for a passing mark,
Passing
35%.
marks.
Yes.
8 hours for
8 hours.
minimum per day.
Right.
That too, Dada had mentioned कि उठते बैठते कर रहे वो नहीं. Sitting at one place dedicated to him, and whatever we do, even if we are singing, sing for him. Whatever act we are doing, do for him, like the Gopikas did for Krishna.
Correct.
Only then.
And one powerful exercise he took during the study class was to make all of us think for 2 minutes that without us, I mean, not anything about us, remove all relationships. We always try to
isolate ourselves.
Right.
You're not the mother, you're not the father, you're not the not associating with anybody.
Correct.
If we don't associate with anybody, then we have no thoughts, we have no complaints, nothing.
Correct.
That we had seen last week.
Correct. Ashwini is raising a hand. Yes, Ashwini, you want to add something?
No, Ravi, I'm listening.
Okay. चलो आगे 22. अश्विनी बुक है तेरे पास?
है ना?
तो 22 वाला शुरू करते. सूत्रा 22.
Okay. तत्रापि न महात्मय ज्ञान विस्मृत्य पवादः. Correct है ना? पवादः. Okay. Tatrapi, even there, in this condition of total love, na mahatmya jnana vismruti apavadaha, actually, apavadaha, there is not the bane of forgetting the glory of the Lord. Even there, in this condition of total love, there is no bane of forgetting the glory of the Lord. Generally, there is a widespread feeling among the students of Bhagavata that the loving milkmaids of Vrindavan were sheer sentimental lovers of Shri Krishna with no understanding of his real eternal nature as the Sarvatman, the self in all. The gopis were considered as the many beloveds of the Lord and that they had no true wisdom, jnana. This idea is not true, as in the very Bhagavata we find many expressions which clearly declare the true experiences of the Lord's infinite nature lived by the gopis in their humble homes in Vraja.
Continue कर वो paragraph.
Okay. They had no illusions that Sri Krishna, their hearts beloved, were a mere Gopa boy. The gopis were the greatest devotees of the Lord, but at the same time, they had a very clear and vivid knowledge of the glory and majesty of Sri Krishna's true nature. They did not ever consider the divine blue boy as only an enchanting Yadava child. They realized that the flute player of the Yamuna banks was the supreme Purusha of the Upanishads.
So let's discuss what we have understood from this. Who wants to start?
Here it is said that people were thinking that the gopis' love was just sentimental. maybe they just kept crying sometimes, or it's like a normal love that people have across masses. But the very thought that these gopis are born in that yuga of Dwapar Yuga, and they are with Krishna, maybe playing with him, maybe being with him. That itself shows that what kind of devotion they must be having, or what
आवाज नहीं आ रहा जो अभी.
I feel the bond is always like last week we did that example of bonding ourselves, removing the bond and isolating and seeing how thoughtless we are. When there is a bond, obviously there will be emotions, there will be some association with the beloved or whatever, whomever it may be. In Bhagavad also it is said that in Treta Yuga, when Shri Ramji had taken Ekapatni Vrata, so many rishis or rishi patnis who wanted to bond with him, as look at him as like what bhakti it is. वो 9 forms of bhakti में जैसे
नवदा.
वात्सल्य भक्ति से love wanted to marry, वो वाला that bhakti they wanted, but just because Sri Ramchandra ji had taken the Ekapatni Vrata, he could not, he satisfied all those rishis in Dwapar Yuga. That is why all those gopikas who were associated with Krishna ji were all the Rishi Munis who did tapasya or whatever in the Treta Yuga. This is one place I have read this. So obviously when they wanted that relationship with Bhagwan, they took a reincarnation, like even Yashoda Maya and Vasudeva and Devaki, they wanted a child, Bhagwan Vishnu as their child. So Krishna was born as he showed them his Vishwarupa in the jail, and then he comes as a child into and uske baad unko kuch yaad nahi rehta. So when the bond is there, obviously there will be some emotions in it. So you can't be claiming that they were sentimental fools or something. When the bond is there, it is very obvious that some emotions will be there. So I don't find it this thing that you can call them, they were not ज्ञानीज नहीं बोल सकते. They 100% considered him as God only. हर बार वो यशोदा को जाके आपके पुत्र में there are मतलब every time when Putana is killed or when Kalia is listening, every time they consider him as an elevated पुरुष only. कोई पुरुषोत्तम जैसे ही उनको ट्रीट किया, कभी गोपिकास को उनको एक छोटे बच्चे के जैसे ट्रीट किया हुआ, और मतलब when he was too small, when they used to complain or something, it might be there, but they all never treated him as a child, mere child of Vrindavan. He was always a special being in that Vrindavan, is what I assume. So it cannot be told that they were just sentimental fools and they did not have jnana at all.
Correct. ताई आगे शेअर दे.
खूप छान सांगितलं अर्चनाने. म्हणजे हा पॉइंट खूप मला आवडला की त्या ज्ञानी हे होत्या आणि त्या द्वापार युगात आलेल्या होत्या. ते फार आवडलं मला, मस्त वाटलं. आणि खरंच
कुठेतरी मी वाचलंय कुठेतरी की त्रेतायुग मध्ये त्यांना सगळ्यांना श्री रामचंद्रजी बरोबर त्यांना हवं होतं, म्हणजे ती भक्ती हवी होती जशी सीताची होती तशी, पण ही सिन्स त्यांचं तो एकपत्नी व्रत होतं म्हणून त्या सगळ्यांना गोपिका म्हणून पुढच्या जन्मात ते कृष्णा बरोबर आले, म्हणूनच हे सगळ्या गोपिकांची भक्ती एवढी होती, तीव्र होती त्यांच्या ह्याच्यात.
आणि असणं आहे कारण ना आपल्या बरोबर स्वामीजींबरोबर आपण असतो, पण आपल्यातल्या कित्येक जणांना कळतच नाही. आपण स्वामीजी म्हणून नुसतं एक ह्युमन बिईंग म्हणून बघतो. त्यांच्यातलं जे स्वामी तत्व आहे ते फार थोड्या लोकांनाच कळतं, आणि त्यांना जो आनंद मिळतो तो हा गोपिकांसारखा आहे. हे मला आता त्याच्याशी कनेक्ट झालं.
सच्चरित्र मध्ये एका जागेत येतं की साईबाबांना भेटायला एक माणूस जातो आणि तो मनातल्या मनात विचार करतो की एवढे लोक येतात बाबांना भेटायला, सगळ्यांना बेनिफिट होतो का त्यांच्याकडून? डज एव्हरीबडी बेनिफिट फ्रॉम असोसिएशन विथ बाबा? So he answers it in a different way, that if the mango tree, all the flowers of the mango tree would become crops, what a splendid crop it would be. But not every flower becomes a fruit. Some fall down, some wither away, some don't bloom at all, some don't become ripe and become a fruit. So it is not everybody, it is very few who still remain and become a fruit. So if that association or that this thing we are getting from this Gurudev and mission and everything, we are really fortunate enough.
Archana, the bhava that you said is Nayaka Nayaki bhava.
Acha.
It's a Nayaka Nayaki bhava. So it was the, what do you say, the devotion of Gopikas is so much that for them, even one single breath without Krishna is a tadpadna. For them, they cannot imagine even that single breath without Krishna. For them, each and every act, they were so immersed in Krishna, each and every thought revolved around him. Whether it be taking the cows for the gazing, or whether it be माखन निकालना हो, मटकी पानी लेके आना हो, even a simple act of taking bath was for them like giving a bath to Krishna. Like Guruji said in one
Kanta
thing,
Bhakti. It is Kanta Bhakti. I just वो last verse में गुरुजी ने जब explain किया था ना, तो in Narada Bhakti Sutra, I just saw that sutra now. Kanta Bhakti.
okay. So
Association with all
Guruji
different forms of bhakti.
So Guruji, in one part, he says that, how do you make the Lord feel that the Lord is with you or you are with the Lord? For example, now, if I want to feel that my mother is right here next to me, how will I do that? I'll start thinking about her. I'll say, okay, my mother is not physically here; she's in Nanapet, but still she is here. I can feel the presence in the room. So you start thinking about the Lord for each and everything. Like Abhedananda ji said, when he does his daily routine of Krishna puja or whatever, he says, okay, I'm going to give Krishna an abhishek. So this water is very cold. So let me make it a little lukewarm. Probably yesterday only he wore a pink color. So today I'm going to put him blue color dress. So when you associate each and every action of yours with that Lord, you become that Lord, because 24/7 you are thinking about that Lord. So a habit takes a certain time to form. So at this rate, when the Gopikas were constantly thinking about the Lord 24/7, just like Uddhava had become Shri Krishna by constantly thinking about him, by eating his uchishta. He never said, okay, I want something different. He said, जो उन्होंने खाया उसका बचा हुआ ही मुझे देना. Whatever clothes he has discarded, I'm going to wear that. So even by, accepting the remnants of whatever prasad they are having, by merely even looking at that, when you become like the Lord, so the Gopikas were veritable Krishna. They were not different from Krishna. They never associated him as he is the Paramatma and I'm the Jivatma. For them, they were just one. So when this Bhakti Bhavana came together, that is why, it's said that the devotion of the Gopikas is the highest. So even in Jayadeva Ashtapadi, when Jayadeva has to write about the Gopika and Krishna connection, so he comes upon a line where he has to write that Krishna had placed the legs of Gopika on their head. That was the a stanza, and he found that very wrong. Like, how can God keep a devotee's leg on his head? So at that time he said, okay, I'll go for a bath and come and then I'll write. In the meanwhile, Krishna comes disguised as him, and he tells to his wife Padmavati, no, wait, I have to finish that stanza first, and then he writes that Tvamasi Mama Khandanam, Tvamasi Mama Bandhanam. So Krishna himself, who is beyond all the bonds of life, he wanted to be in that bond with the Gopikas, simply because without Gopikas there is no Krishna, without Krishna there is no Gopika. So this was the extent of their devotion for Krishna, because without him there was nothing का भी nothing नहीं है वहाँ पे. So I think that is the synopsis of this. Like, they could not afford to forget the forgetfulness of Krishna.
Right. Good. Ramakantana,
Okay.
your thoughts?
Now here, as you all pointed out, they knew that he was something greater. He was not a mere boy or person whom they loved, but he had some. He was a god, or he was something higher than them. That they all had that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
रवि, वो मारुति मेरा दोस्त याद है रवि? वो मूवी हम लोगों ने देखा था साथ में, बच्चों को भी देखा। उसमें बोलते ना, वो लड़की एक छोटी बोलती ना, मारुति कुछ स्पेशल है। वैसा वो फीलिंग सारे गोपिकाओं में था। सेकेंडली, त्रेता युग में राम जी नेवर शोड दैट ही इज गॉड. He was a mere human being. But in द्वापर युग कृष्ण जी पैदा होने से लेकर it was everywhere he is proven that he is God. So there was no point, और ऐसा कोई जगह रहा ही नहीं होगा कि nobody would, people at least who knew or have been with Lord Krishna would 100% know that he is God. Even Bhishma Pitama recognized him. म्हणून ते when he did that this thing, no, चक्रवर्ती सम्राट बनने के लिए पहला मान जब देने का रहता है, तो कृष्ण भगवान को भीष्म पितामह टेल्स टू गिव शिशुपाल वध के पहले। तो भीष्म पितामह को जब पूछते हैं कि पहला मान देना होता है, तो युधिष्ठिर asks भीष्म पितामह, तो भीष्म पितामह says when Krishna is there, Krishna needs to be given. So at every point Krishna was considered God only, and all those who considered him as God were all jnanis. It cannot be that they were ajnanis. 100%. If Bhishma Pitama also could know, then those who did not know he was the God were all ajnanis. For example, Kaurava रहने दो, Shishupal रहने दो, who did not know that Krishna is not a mere human being, he is God himself. So correct. Right from the beginning, Lord Krishna has been showing that he is a different, he is not a mere human being. पैदा होते ही वो जेल का रहने दो, he going to Gokul, every instance he has been showing. It was not like Shri Ramji's birth. In Shri Ramji's birth, he has always been a mere human being. I am just another person. So he was an ideal person. He lived as an ideal person, which was not the case with. So I feel anybody associated with Lord Krishna and his bhakti cannot be Adnyani at all. 100% cannot be Adnyani.
Correct. Right. Viju, your thoughts?
अभी it is like
हाँ बोल.
See, where there is true love, it is ऐसा true love है कि one gets happiness in seeing the beloved, one being happy, and even if the beloved one is the cause of one's sorrow, still they will accept it. जैसे suppose अगर कृष्णा अपने वाइफ्स के साथ मथुरा में है और ये सब गोपीस वृंदावन में है, तो भी गोपीस को ये नहीं होता था कि वो वहां पे सत्यभामा और इनके साथ है तो वो यहाँ पे मायूस होके बैठे। ऐसा नहीं, अगर कृष्णा वहां पे बहुत सुखी है, उनको उतना ही चाहिए कि ये भी यहाँ पे सुखी से रह गए। ऐसा है।
करेक्ट राइट।
तो वो अटैचमेंट था उनका।
करेक्ट। विजू,
इसीलिए that is highest form of love ना।
करेक्ट।
Nothing to add really all. I think I'm just benefiting from listening to everyone. I'm just praying that at least some percentage of the gopi love enters our hearts.
करेक्ट। ठीक है, आगे बढ़े। चलो, कौन पढ़ेगा आगे?
मैं पढ़ूं?
हाँ पढ़।
Thus, the gopis of Vrindavan were not blind devotees with a thoughtless, empty, blind faith. They all were spiritual saints
उसके
of
ऊपर का
wisdom,
पैराग्राफ
ज्ञानी।
किया क्या?
हुआ
They
था ना?
once said,
नहीं हुआ था।
हाँ वो एक रह गया। They once said.
They once said, "You are not a mere child of the Gopa tribe, but you are the very inner self of all living creatures in the universe. Thou art Shri Narayana himself, who has taken incarnation to serve the world." Thus, the gopis of Vrindavan were not blind devotees with a thoughtless, empty, blind faith. They all were spiritual saints of wisdom. The more we realize his glories, the more our love for him expands. Ordinary men fail to achieve this deep devotion only because of their ignorance of his glory and divine nature. The Lord himself says in his Gita that of the four varieties of devotees, the devotion based upon and stemming forth from true wisdom, jnana, is firm, deep, and constant. Thus, in the giddiness of love, the devotees of Gokula and Vrindavan did not even for a moment give up their constant recognition of Sri Krishna's true nature as the Supreme Self, the infinite Paramatman, and that he was. हमने जो बोला वही इसमें है कि जो भी एसोसिएटेड थे कृष्ण जी के साथ, वो भले ही नंद जी हो या कोई ऋषि मुनि हो, सुदामा हो, ऐसा कोई भी कैरेक्टर नहीं रहेगा जिसको whom we can say were अज्ञानीस. They were all exemplary ज्ञानीज in their own fields. वो विदुर जी भी हो या कोई भी हो, मतलब all of them, whoever comes in association with Lord, श्री रामचंद्र जी में एक शबरी को भी उन्होंने इतना मोक्ष दिया था, तो even that she was a ज्ञानी. So all those who come in contact with the Lord and are in love with the Lord, 100% they will not be ajnanis. They have been jnanis. That is the reason why they are blessed by God's presence.
Correct. And also the fact that if it is was only emotion, then that emotion always also demands that only I should have that person with me, or when that person is not physically with you, then that absence also creates that kind of a feeling of wanting to be with that person. That would have been there, but in spite of that, they still were with Krishna when he was not there in Gokul, when he left Gokul. And I think that itself explains that it was not just emotional attachment that they had, that was this jnana that they knew that he was everywhere. He would be physically there with them in Gokul, but even after he's not in Gokul, he will be there and they will always be connected to him. That's the reason, that is the supreme devotion.
And wherever they got diverted, Krishna also did not leave. No, when they went with their makhan or this thing, he stole it away so that they constantly think of him only and not about their own household activities. So अपना इसमें आता है ना राधा नाचे नाचे गोपी जन. So even if somebody scolds them, does not treat them well, some घर में उनकी सास ननद चिल्लाए कुछ भी करे, but their attention was constantly towards Krishna. So, like Tushar sir said, ki whatever we do, dedicate it to the higher. So there was already with the higher. So they didn't have to bother about anything, and their love always grew and multiplied in number.
Correct. So we have been hearing about gopis even in the last study group, through Uddhava also, and in the last sutras. So for us now, what do we take as, what practices can we start developing, looking at the highest love of gopis? How do we start with developing that love? Somewhere we may reach there, but how do we start with? We know that that love, that devotion is the highest, but just admiring or appreciating it more than that, if we can imbibe, so how do we imbibe? How do we start with? I think if we can discuss on that, and slowly we develop on that.
Faith being the first step, Ravi. Unless and until we have faith in our work or our actions or our whatever sadhana we are doing, that it will get us closer to God. Without that first faith, nothing will be, whatever we do is useless. First, I think we should have faith and patience in whatever sadhana we are doing, and I think we could at this time we could increase it. Like Tushar sir has told, one mar at least every day. धीरे धीरे करके उसको थोड़ा थोड़ा we can increase it with faith that what I am doing is getting me closer to the Lord.
Correct. But remember, Rachana, last week, sir also said that sometimes whatever practices we take as part of our sadhana, it could be chanting something while we are traveling, or even when we are doing our daily work, that we all of us can discuss it here, because we know that that can become mechanical. And then we may tend to say that, yes, I am doing it, it is happening every day. When I'm taking bath, I chant this sutra and this shloka, but then that will be just mechanical. If we have to add to it, so I remember in one of the earlier study groups, sir said, whatever sadhana we take up, it could be anything, japa or any other practice, if we are not deriving happiness from it, then that sadhana is not the right sadhana that we do, or we have not done it the right way. If we can measure it that way, that whatever I'm doing, is it giving me happiness? I may feel that today whole day I didn't get time for japa. Now let me just quickly do before I sleep. But in that hurriedness also, if I'm just finishing the japa and that is not giving me happiness, then that sadhana also will not add, or it would not be the right way of doing the sadhana. Correct? Everybody agrees to this?
Yeah.
What more can be done?
Whenever you are doing any activity, you dedicate that activity to the Lord, you remember Him at that time,
Correct.
and you try to feel His presence in that activity.
Correct. Yes. Think of him or put him in your place. Like we just heard, Lord Rama was a true, I mean, he lived like a true human, right? He didn't show any traces of that magic or any of those powers that gods have. So if we can put Shri Ram in our place when we are in a problem or any action that we perform, how would have Shri Ram done this activity? How would have Gurudev taken up this? How would have whatever Swamiji we believe in? How would have he done this? Or the other way is, if I have to do this, what will? How would Swamiji feel when I take this decision? Would it be the right decision? These things can also help. So right, we can dedicate our actions, our thoughts. What else?
As sir had जैसे पहले बोला था सर ने कि surrender yourself, miracles will automatically happen. So fully surrender
But see,
and make yourself available so that we can so that the Lord can enter through us.
करेक्ट. सो थेरोटिकली वो हमको पता है ये सारी चीजें, सरेंडरेंस, डिवोशन. अभी प्रैक्टिकली हाउ डू वी पुट इट इनटू प्लेस? Even now when we reading this book, we may feel that I've understood this part, this is quite easy, this what Narada has explained is very easily understood. But to actually implement it and actually practically put it in place and feel that devotion.
How this practically will happen is, again, this is again a beautiful example by Swami Abhedananda ji. What he said is, when you walk in a lake full of weeds and water hyacinth, what happens is, the first time when you walk, you find all the mud, and you cannot walk easily through that. So our mind is like that. So it will not only take discipline, but it will also take efforts from from our side, along with the grace of Lord. So the first day when you walk, that thing will be there. So you just move it a little bit and you go in. The second day again when you walk, it will not be as difficult as the first day because you know how to do it. So you again move the weeds, you go a little bit more in. So you tread that path slowly, 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 up to a point where when you look back, it does not hurt you, it does not affect you, it does not burden you. You learned to walk with what is there with you, given by you, with your past experiences and your conditionings of the mind. The conditionings of the mind will come later. It will, it will get attuned to Lord with this constant practice of sadhana that you're developing. So over a period of time, when you walk the path that is less taken, you've seen that you have paved the way for other people to follow you on that path. And your mind will also get, okay, this is what I want. I know how to pave my path now, without any distractions, without any selfish not selfish, without any desires, that is the kamyatha bhava. Without any of these things, when you constantly only think about the Lord, and you know the destination is the Lord, and along the journey when you think about the Lord and think that He's right there walking with you, that is when this is the practicality of how your sadhana reaches the point where it has to be reached. And at that point, when you feel that satisfaction in you, like even for 1 second, if you close your eyes like a Gurudev did, he closed his eyes, he could visualize the Chandra, he could visualize the Trishula, he could visualize the smiling face of Jagadishwara. So even if you get that for 1 second in by doing your daily practice, it is a great improvement in our spiritual practice.
Correct. All of us know that when we put, we uh, kind of invest in some insurance, or even in our own bank accounts, when we have a FD or a saving accounts, we time by time look into what are the benefits that I've gained, right? How much is the interest that I've accrued? How much is the what is the current value of that particular whatever mutual fund? So we keep checking that, and that gives us more motivation to continue with that investment, right? Same way, I feel if whatever sadhana we are doing, it could be something which we are doing for many years now. If we keep checking on what have the things changed in me, my faith has developed more, my have been more or less restless now, and whatever I'm doing is helping me. If we can keep checking that, time to time, then that same sadhana will give us more motivation to continue. Otherwise, at a point we may just feel that I've been doing it for a long time now, but nothing is changing, or nothing has changed in my life. So that will not happen if we keep checking regularly and get motivated by that same practice that we are doing. And then that can also add to more. Then we may feel, why not let me take some chanting of some sutras also along with whatever little I'm doing. That way we may increase our sadhana also. So that is one motivation factor we can develop. And of course, like Tusharda said, read the biographies, or read the books on saints, how they lived, how they have got inspired and developed their devotion towards the Lord. That can help us, because then we can relate. Yes, it is possible. It is not some just a story or just a thing that is to be read about. It is something which is really possible, and we are so fortunate to have so many saints around us, being born in India, to have so many examples around us. In our own Chinmay mission, we have so many Swamijis to tell us that yes, this helps. Correct, Tai? अजून काही?
मला तेच आता आठवलं की स्वामीजींनी सांगितलं की आपल्याला लगेच पटतं.
हा,
त्यांनी सांगितलं काही आणि इतरांनी कोणी सांगितलं की तेवढं आपल्याला पटत नाही.
करेक्ट.
तर थोडं तेच असतं की त्यांच्यावरती आपला विश्वास असतो, श्रद्धा असते, आणि ही श्रद्धा आपल्याला डेव्हलप झाली किंवा सर्वत्र तो भाव जागृत होईल असं.
करेक्ट.
म्हणून आधी त्या स्टेप बाय स्टेपच, म्हणजे जसं की श्रवण, स्मरण, कीर्तन, निधिध्यासन यांनीच आपण थोडे थोडे पुढे जात राहू. पण त्या अगदी बरोबर आहे की हे कंटिन्यू ठेवायला पाहिजे, आणि चेक करायचं की नाही हा वैयक्तिकच प्रश्न म्हणता येईल.
बरोबर.
चेक करणं ते एक मोटिवेशनसाठी, पण अजूनही आपण आता इतक्या वर्षानंतर सुद्धा आपण स्टडी ग्रुपला येतोय किंवा ह्याच्यात आहोत, म्हणजे आपण त्या राईट ट्रॅकवरच आहोत असं म्हणायला काय हरकत नाही.
बरोबर.
आणि जोपर्यंत स्वामीजींचे आशीर्वाद आहेत तोपर्यंत आपण पुढे जाणारच. जसं दिव्यांनी एकदा सांगितलं होतं की ते आपल्या हातात ओंजळीत घेऊन उभे आहेत मोक्ष, फक्त आपल्यालाच आता तिथपर्यंत चालत राहायचंय. आणि जसं आता हे गोपिकांचं सांगितलं की त्या मागच्या जन्मीच्या हे साध्वी होत्या, म्हणजे योगिनी होत्या, ज्ञानी होत्या, त्या या जन्मामध्ये गोपिका झाल्या आणि मग त्यांना मोक्ष मिळाला. तर असं आपण, मला वाटतं फक्त हे पाथ वॉक केला कीच आपण त्यापर्यंत पोहोचणार आहोत. ते चालत राहिलं पाहिजे. स्मरण, श्रवण, निधिध्यासन, कीर्तन ह्या ज्या काही नवविध भक्ती आहेत त्या मार्गातनं आपण पोहोचत राहू. त्याच्यासाठी मग डेली प्रॅक्टिसेस आहेत. कोणी 24/7 हे करेल आणि हे ऑटोमॅटिक पण होणार आहे. जसं कितीही म्हणजे आपण म्हणलं ना मेकॅनिकल नको, तरी लहान मुलांना आपण सवय लावण्यासाठी सुरुवातीला आपण म्हणतोच ना कराग्रे म्हणायचंय, आणि मग ते जेव्हा फोर्सफुली केलं जातं, मेकॅनिकली केलं जातं, ते मला वाटतं ऑटोमॅटिकली मग ती आयुष्यभराची सवय होऊन जाते. आणि जरी तो भाव असतोच, येतोच, म्हणजे किती आता दररोज सुद्धा सकाळी उठल्यावर आपण म्हणतो कराग्रे असं आहेच ना, तो भाव असतोच तो. आणि मग तोच प्रत्येक कृतीमध्ये आणखीन जागृत व्हायला पाहिजे, हे आहे. पण मेकॅनिकल करून करून थोडी सवय लावून शिस्त, डिसिप्लिन लागतो, आणि त्या डिसिप्लिन नंतर मग ते हॅबिट होऊन जाते, आणि ती हॅबिट आपल्याला कंटिन्यू ठेवायला मदत होते किंवा कंटिन्यू राहते पण.
बरोबर. विजू, राजू, अश्विनी.
तरी ताईने सांगितलं ते बरोबर आहे. म्हणजे आपण वी आर ऑलरेडी इन दॅट पाथ. we are going to reach there. That is why maybe we can say we are the chosen one, that we got Gurudev आणि आपण त्या पाथ मध्ये चाललो आहे. फक्त एवढंच आहे की गुरुदेव थांबले आपल्यासाठी, अजून त्यांना नको वेळ लावायला. आपण नको इथं तिथं इकडे तिकडे भटकायला नको. म्हणून लेट्स फोकस अँड देन कीप वॉकिंग अँड लेट्स मेक आवर पाथ more smaller and reach faster.
That's why Guru is considered first, even before Mother. No, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, sab, matlab, Guru is before. I was just thinking when Tai said की स्वामीजींनी सांगितल्यावर आपल्याला पटतं. साधं सुद्धा एक गणित पण आईने घरी शिकवलं की ते पटत नाही. टीचरनी शाळेत शिकवलं तर नक्की पटतं ते मुलांना. तेच आपण शिकवतो घरी, पण त्यांना ते पटत नाही. जस्ट अ स्मॉल इन्स्टन्स, उत्कर्षला मी आता इथे वैदिक चॅन्टिंगला पाठवते. मी जे गोष्ट सांगते तेच सर तिथे म्हणतात, पण सरांनी सांगितलं की लगेच काम होतं. मी सांगितलं की होत नाही. ते कसं म्हणजे दॅट गुरुज व्हॉट यू से द प्लेस और द position that he holds on the student's mind also is very important. Recently that I have joined school, मला हे 2 वर्ष ऑनलाईन झाल्यानंतर परत ऑफलाईन आल्यानंतर मुलांमध्ये ते अजून जास्त दिसतंय. वन वर्ड यू से, इट इज सो मेटिक्युलसली डन बाय द चिल्ड्रन. You really have to live up to what they look up to you as a. So if you think that you are a teacher for them, you have to see that you are living up to the ethics or whatever they look up to you. Like I would want my child's guru to be similarly somebody's child's teacher I am. So if I have to live up to that, मला काय काय करावं लागतं, where I have to introspect myself, where is my shortcoming, what I'm doing wrong, where I can do something better. Okay, so I am taking this as a sadhana now to improve myself. So though it is something different that I've also, like yesterday they had Earth Day. So just 10 minutes, it was a very very tiring day yesterday, but 10 minutes I thought balviyar जैसे ही कर लेंगे कुछ. So I taught them enjoy yourself and उनको इतना मस्त लगा होगा ना. So I'm just trying to improvise where I can, practically working upon it, ki where I can in my effort give some good values to whoever child comes in my way.
Good, good, very good. Anybody else want to add? Viju?
One point which Ramakant Bhaiya told, that whatever you do, you dedicate it to the Lord. So whatever you do, what he said is, what I understood from that is, lose your identity. When we say I am doing this, I am doing that, then again we come in that this of I and minus. So whatever we are doing is not, for example, what is Raju? If that spark of life is gone, khatam. Unless and until that Lord is there, he is there. So who is doing it? The Lord is doing it. So what Ramakant Bhaiya told, that surrender is that, okay, surrender to the Lord is doing it. Whatever dharma or whatever karma is been given by him to me, it's happening to him.
It means in जैसे एक layman language में, whatever you do means you convert your whole life into an offering to God. आप जो खाते हैं, whatever you do, whatever you offer, जो भी अपना day to day life है, this all becomes as an arpan to the Lord. Means कल क्या होगा उसकी चिंता जगत पिता पर छोड़ दो. इतना हम लोग सरेंडर किए, हमको कल की भी चिंता नहीं होना चाहिए. इतना भगवान पे हमें विश्वास रहना चाहिए.
Only then you can concentrate on your present activity at your present. If you keep on thinking what will happen, what has happened before, you cannot concentrate on the activity you are doing now. Only if you lose yourself in that activity, if you are so much devoted or you offer it to God, then only you can concentrate 100% on what you are doing at present in your hand.
Correct, very right.
But offering to God, I must also see that I put 100% of my effort also. Just because that I can't just leave it the same way. My japa or whatever sadhana I'm doing, I have to give my 100% to it and then surrender it to God. What happens after that is left to God. My sadhana, what I'm supposed to do, has to be done.
Yes, as a teacher, you said you are teaching children. So only if you whatever you are going to teach, if you put 100%, you learn yourself, you become more confident of what all you have read. You may read 10 times. Then only you can explain it in a better way to your children so that they can understand it the first time.
Correct.
And also what Ramakant Bhaiya said, to dedicate it to the Lord. Remember Tushar said in one of the classes that there was this student of Ramakrishna Paramahams who used to eat tobacco or drink or do something. And then when he said, offer it to me first and do. So when we start dedicating, then maybe our actions also get corrected because we start feeling
Yes.
that this is for the Lord. So then this is
This
not
is a
right.
this is a story that Tushar sir had said in Bal Vihars, that normally we tend to procrastinate everything, the good and the bad. So how to procrastinate doing bad things is you offer bad things to the Lord. So there was a story that I had told one of my in my Balia sessions. There was a small kid who came with two mangoes in her hand, and she said, "Mama, do you want the mangoes?" And no, mother said, "Yes, I want." And the kid, she took a bite of both the mangoes. And the mother, she got a little, angry. She was like, "You said that you're going to give it to me. Why are you eating?" She said, "No, I was tasting which one to give you first, which one was the sweetest one." So, and she said, "This is the sweetest, you take this." So, it is like, when you know that you have to offer something to the Lord, you cannot offer anything of a mediocre quality or a low quality. It has to be only the best. So, while doing the prasad, we do it with so much of samarpanam. Why can't we do the same thing with our thoughts? When now, for example, I have a grudge against someone, and I think, no, next time she comes, I'll teach her a lesson. I'll give her all the possible bad languages. But at the same time, I'm also listening to Gurudev, who is saying that Krishna Tattva that is there in you is also in someone else. So when I'm going to see that Krishna Tattva in that some person whom I'm going to give a lot of bad words, how will that bad words come out of me? Because that the same Krishna is there in him. So you cannot give something bad and give something good. You have to cultivate that. Then you can procrastinate. Okay, not this time. I'll probably give him gali next time. So by the time the next time comes, you're a little bit refined, you're a little bit matured, and then you say, "No, I have to give only the good and the better for that person, because not for him to get good, so that my peace remains with me and I am spiritually progressing." Not to get a shabashi or wawai from someone else. Because at the end of the day, it's your peace that matters more in your spiritual progression.
Correct. Good.
There's a
Thanks. Yeah.
story in Sacharitra, जिसमें there's one Anna who is doing seva to Baba, or when he is doing, he has a sleeve folded. So उस sleeve में से चने नीचे गिरते हैं. तो everybody, it is a matter of joke for everybody. देखो कहाँ छुपाया हुआ है अगर ना. So then Baba says, this fellow has a habit of eating alone. What is so something to laugh about it? So that person says, Baba, I never eat anything alone without sharing it with others. I have not seen the bazaar also today. I don't know how these came into my skin. How do you shoulder this bad habit on me? I don't do it. I don't eat anything without sharing it with people around me. So Baba says, but I understand that. But what do you do when nobody is around you? Do you offer it to me? So in that, then that Sudama story comes when Sandipani Rishi's wife sends some grams with them. बारिश में फंस जाते हैं, तो Sudama eats those. So Shri Krishna ji is tired, so he's lying on Sudama's lap, and he can hear the chitta chatta sound. So he asks Sudama, "What is it? What is the sound?" So he says, "Nothing. I can't even repeat the Vishnu Sahasranama. इतना ठंड लग रहा है, so that is why my teeth are chattering. थर-थर काँप रहा हूँ मैं." So he says, "I just saw a dream in which I saw a man eating something of the other, and when asked, he says, 'What dust is there to eat?' And I merely said, 'Let it be so.' And that is the reason why Sudama, though he was a chum of Krishna, had to suffer poverty till the time he offered a handful of parched rice. So, in moral of the story being that, in that also he says, Baba says that if nobody is there also, you think of me, offer it to me. And then when you think of offering it to me, you will automatically forget the vices, all the bad things will go away from it. And then what remains is the sattva in it.
Correct. आगे बढ़े 23 थोड़ा पढ़ते हैं सूत्र 23 which you will read 23 हाँ
तद्विहीनं जारानामिव तद्विहीनं जारानामिव तद्विहीनं love without the knowledge of the glory of the Lord. Jaranam, of couples indulging in illicit love. Eva, like. Love without the knowledge of his true nature is like the illicit love for the paramour. Love of God without the precise knowledge of the supreme nature of truth is only a passion, low and base, and the love of woman to her secret lover. Such a love can never bring to the lover the true joy of pure love. True love ennobles, it enlivens, it enthralls. Pure love totally transports the devotee into the climate of joyous satisfaction, into a breathless state of perfection. In the love of the gopis for the Gopala Krishna, there was nothing base, ignoble, or fleshly. It was the expression of a total merger of their personalities with the supreme truth, the form of Lord Krishna. That there is nothing sensual about this subtle and gracious relationship between the love-mad gopis and the Lord of Vrindavan is clearly seen from the very fact that it was given out by the great sage Shuka to King Parikshit when the royal king was facing imminent death. Hearing and enjoying the Bhagavata ultimately saved the king from the sad death. Every devotee is the king of his own life, waiting for his death in the house of the body, standing in an island of the society surrounded by the waters.
राजा परीक्षित का कितना मस्त एग्जाम्पल दिया है.
वही ना
That is such a beautiful line, the last line.
Last sentence is very
Every devotee is the king of his own life, waiting for his death in the house of the body, standing in an island of society surrounded by the waters of the mind. There's that bhajan, right? That Tushar always sings. हंस भोले भाले मन पंछी बोले अपने जीवन का दुखड़ा छोड़ दे. There's a song that Tushar sir always sings. I remember only the first. हंस भोले भाले मन पंछी बोले अपने जीवन का दुखड़ा छोड़ दे. Used to sing this a lot. I don't remember the rest of the paragraphs, but this is exactly what it is. Every devote, we are all caged in that golden prison, I mean, we are so fascinated by being in that golden cage. We are seeing the gold, but we are not seeing the freedom outside it. So this body that we have is that golden cage, and we are so much after preserving it by, the beauty and spas and everything. We are tied by it. We are so behind the body identification. We are not ready to drop that body-mind identification. Everywhere we are associated with it. And the day that drops down, we don't say that that person, the day that person dies, we don't even take a second to say that person, we say body ko hata. That is the first one we say. So much of mamata we have with this body, mind, and body identification. And this is just
True, I think this is I remember I love you wala study group.
Yes.
In which you never fall in love. You rise in love. So if it इसमें 2 types of love described किया ना, I'm not getting the words now. I don't know what this feeling to be. नहीं, एक तो श्रेय प्रेय भक्ति है उसमें. The lower and higher love में दो उसका words I'm not remembering.
Affection and devotion.
Affection and devotion.
Affection and devotion. The lower is affection, which is towards the people around you, and the same love when you direct towards the higher becomes devotion.
Devotion.
And again, love is like what the Gopikas did. There was no, like Raju said, there is no identification in that. You just surrender yourself. Just like a river that merges with the ocean. After it merges with the ocean, it doesn't say, okay, I'm Ganga or I'm Kaveri or Brahmaputra. It's just that ocean, vast ocean with no identification in it. So that is the kind of love we should have with Bhagavan. Where there is no, not even a speck of you in that. It's always, love is always about giving. Give. Like Meera did, like Narada did, like the gopis did. And when love is there, that's it. You don't need, there's nothing else to exist there.
As sir said, if love is happiness, then we are on the right path. It helps you to taste the devotion, and also appreciating the glory of Lord itself is love.
I agree with this. What only if it gives happiness. Like Meera, even just thinking about Govinda was happiness for her. She didn't bother about anything. So that is what. So there was no cruel thoughts or no baseless emotions attached. It was just bhakti. Wherever she heard Krishna's name, she used to run, madly dance in his bhajan. So she didn't bother about the kingdom, about her husband, nothing. Similarly for Gopika. So higher form of love where there is no expectation at all. It is only the happiness that I get by remembering that Lord is true love. So that is what is, I think it's like a simile here compared to base love.
I think everybody looks to you as a body, but as he has written, every devotee is the king of his own life. That means everybody knows that one day he has to leave his body and go, and he's all alone. So he's the king of his own life, means he has to see how he can uplift himself and in the true sense become a king, so that he can unite with God or better his own life.
Correct.
Tushar sir used to say, uplift oneself for oneself by oneself. Nobody else can do it for you.
I think there is another way also at looking at it, that asakti is for something which is other than you, and devotion, bhakti is for something which is you. Vibhakta no nahito bhakta means if I'm loving myself, which is the divine spirit and divine divinity in myself, it's bhakti. I'm not reaching out in the external world to find happiness. It's in me. I'm in it. I would say I'm in it, because earlier we used to say it's in me, but I think Tushar Dada got this thought last time that we think that the Lord is in us, but we are in Him. And how can we not love somebody in whom we are? So that's why affection or asakti is to something which is other than us, an object, a person, a situation, an emotion, a circumstance, a place. That is affection or asakti. We like to be there. We like to have that. We like to be with them. But here it's we. We are divinity in itself. And loving thyself, it's bhakti. So the more we have a U-turn coming, look at the Lord in us, we will never find Him outside. We just have to close. That's why Tushar said, we go to temples, such beautifully decorated Lord in
Close our eyes.
and still we close our eyes. because we know it. He's inside. It's the mirror that is showing us that look at me within you.
Tattvamasi.
I hope we've made Sir proud with our discussions.
Again, no expectation. We will do our best.
नहीं वो ऐसा है ना कि wherever you go he is always watching you. So whatever
Yeah.
you speak, this is getting recorded.
अजून एक म्हणजे की ते पुत्रेष्णा वित्तेष्णा लोकेष्णा यामध्येच अजूनही जर आपण अडकलेलं असू तर आपणही सामान्य माणसांचंच आयुष्य जगतोय असं आपण आपल्याला हे करायला हरकत नाही. म्हणून त्याच्यासाठी ते इंट्रोस्पेक्शन जे सांगितलेलं आहे तेच डेली करायला पाहिजे. आणि त्याच्यानंतरच म्हणजे मग आपण जरी राईट पाथवर असलो तरी आपली बोट कशी अशी हालत असते सारखी, लाट वर आली की आपण वरती जातो, खाली आली की खाली जातो, तसं अजूनही आपलं होतंय का हे चेक केलं पाहिजे. आणि त्याच्यामुळे तद्विहीनम जारणामिव, तर तसं जर आपलं त्याच्याशिवाय जर जगणं होत असेल ईश्वराशिवायच, तर मग आपल्याही आयुष्यात ते जारणासारखंच झालंय, जारणीच्या प्रेमासारखंच झालंय असं म्हणायला हरकत नाही. ठीक आहे.
We'll conclude here. We'll continue in the next class.
Yes.
है ना रे टाइम?
टाइम तो है, किसी को ऐड करना है?
वो ये खत्म कर देते ना ये पैरा.
नहीं पूरा नहीं होगा, पूरा नहीं होगा.
पढ़ के खत्म कर लेते हैं. We'll do Mananam on this for the next class. Let us finish reading this one. No? Only 3 more.
दो
बड़ा है
पैराग्राफ
रे.
पढ़ते दिव्या, 2 पैराग्राफ पढ़ते हैं. ये
हाँ,
पूरा
बहुत
दो
बड़ा
पढ़
है.
के
2
बड़ा
ही
है.
तो है. मस्ट सेट के बाद 1 2 3 तो है और we can
अरे
finish
3
reading.
4 है, 4
चार
5.
चार है ना. हाँ
वो 2 लाइन का भी पैराग्राफ.
नहीं पढ़ते हैं. we'll get to know what it is.
Basically, here I think he's spoken about physical love and devotion. दोनों में
Yes.
difference.
Yes.
मुझे क्या लगता है ना, अगर हम लोग यहाँ पे
हाँ,
अगर हम लोग यहाँ पे रुकते हैं तो सर को क्या है, वापस उनसे हम लोग नेक्स्ट स्टडी ग्रुप में सूत्र 23 वापस उनका जो भी है उनसे हम लोग सुन सकते हैं.
होमवर्क नहीं करना है इसको.
नहीं अभी तेरा सुनते ना.
नहीं हाँ, क्या बोल रहे हैं, ताकि सर से भी अपने को और भी क्लैरिटी आ जाएगा ना. हम लोग पढ़ते ही जाएंगे.
एनीवे अगले हफ्ते सर से ये फिर से करवाई लेंगे हम लोग. You have to know his thoughts also, but I thought we can go. This is my opinion.
एक पैराग्राफ पढ़ते. Let's see. पढ़ दिव्या, तू ही पढ़.
Today in the world, lust is
नहीं इसके पहले वाला पैराग्राफ
हो गया ना वो.
नहीं हुआ.
नहीं हुआ.
If the love is without recognition.
If the love is without the recognition of the infinitude, which is the essence of the Lord, it will be such a self-insulting relationship that it cannot mature into the ecstasy of true love. Merely to entertain sentiments of devotion to a mental image of the Lord, without an equally vivid intellectual vision of the grandeur and the majesty of his greater heights and deeper depths, is a sheer mental escapism, a convenience to pacify the endless erosions of desires. In short, this sutra indicates that kama and prema, lust and love, can never coexist. Where the lust, kama, rises, love, prema, in all her regal beauty, must set. He's just put it bang on. It cannot coexist. Love has to go beyond physical, emotional, and mental boundaries. It has to transcend.
Gist of I love you लग रहा है मेरे को ये.
ये वही है ना, love has to be engulfing, you know. You have to just उसमें डूबना है. And it has to मैंने वो एक मूवी में देखा था, it has to set you free, not bind you. And that which is bound cannot be love.
डूबना नहीं है. You have to rise in love.
बट एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट लाइन भी है, देखो. merely to entertain sentiments of devotion to a mental image of the Lord.
Yes.
ये अभी हो रहा है अपना. Without an equally vivid intellectual vision of the grandeur and majesty of his great heights and deeper depths. वो जब तक हम नहीं सोचते कि how great, how grand, वो तुषार दा ही बोलते थे, याद है कि किसी ने प्राइम मिनिस्टर के साथ एक अपॉइंटमेंट फिक्स किया, इतने बहुत से क्या बोलते, इतना सारा उसने इधर उधर जैक लगा के, और जाके मांगा क्या, तो मेरे पेंसिल बॉक्स में एक शार्पनर नहीं है. मतलब हम वैसे हैं कि इतने बड़े भगवान से हम मांगते क्या है, तो छोटी छोटी चीजें, आज शाम का खाना अच्छा हो या कल का एग्जाम अच्छा हो, ऐसा कुछ. तो ही इज इनफाइनाइट, मतलब वो देने के लिए उनके पास तो वो तो पूरे सब कुछ दे सकते हैं. हम उनको क्या मांग के चलते हैं.
साई सच्चरित्र में आता है, वो बोलता है कि वो एक बंदा ही जस्ट वांट्स टू गो एंड गेट ब्रह्म ज्ञान. जाता है, वो बोलता है कि लोग आते हैं क्या पूछने का करके पता नहीं रहता है उनको, मैं देने के लिए बैठा हूँ, पर आके बोलते हैं मेरे को बच्चा दो, मेरे को मेरी बीवी अच्छी रहनी चाहिए. दे डोंट आस्क फॉर द रियल नॉलेज जो एक्चुअली मैटर. दे डोंट आस्क फॉर इट. आके कुछ तो पूछ के जाते हैं, और आई डोंट हैव एनी अदर थिंग, यू नो, तथास्तु बोल देता हूँ. सो इवन आचार्य से, श्रृंगेरी आचार्य से, आई मीन पूछना है तो कुछ अच्छा सा पूछो, बोलो कि मेरे को सद्बुद्धि दो. आई मीन गिव मी द माइंड दैट विल ऑलवेज.
पहले बुद्धि चाहिए ना, पहले बुद्धि चाहिए फिर सद्बुद्धि.
हाँ, बुद्धि दो, ठीक है, विल गो असेंडिंग वाइज.
नहीं, उसमें एज इट कम्स, नो, एक्चुअली वी आर ऑल रियली ब्लेस्ड. उसमें हाउ आर वी एलिजिबल फॉर ब्रह्म ज्ञान के वो ये आते हैं. उसमें द लास्ट इज गुरुज ग्रेस. सो वी हैव बीन ब्लेस्ड विद गुरुज ग्रेस एक्चुअली. ओनली थिंग इज वी हैव टू पुट इट टू यूज.
यस, पार्वती अम्मा सेज, यू नो, कि ऐसा है, ऐसा नहीं है कि हम लोग वी आर नॉट एलिजिबल. द वेरी फैक्ट that we are able to touch these books and even have a very basic conversation shows that we have been blessed. क्योंकि ऐसी चीजें without Guru's grace and Guru's blessings and your पूर्व जन्म पुण्यास होगा नहीं. So even if you are able to think 1%, 1% बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया, 0.00001% also, if you are able to think about the Lord and have some discussion on it, which means that आपने वो kindergarten के playground में पैर रख दिया. Now there is no going back. Now from there it's only going to be a forward path. And like Krishna said, it will not be a smooth path. He's never promised it to be a smooth path. But what he has promised is he'll be along with us to guide. There was never a thing of smooth path. And we have to know what to ask. Like Guruji says, सब सोचते हैं, क्या सोचना है पता नहीं रहता है. बोलते हैं हाँ मैं सोच रहा हूँ, ऐसे, you know, you look at the sun and you go into a very philosophical mode, but you don't know what to think. So we have to learn to think first, and then that sadbuddhi part and asking part and all comes. Sir,
I think practical way वो इसमें आता है ना, गेयम गीता नाम सहस्त्रम, वो हमने प्रैक्टिस करना चाहिए. ध्येयम श्रीपति रूपम अजस्त्रम, नेयम सज्जन संगे चित्तम, ध्येयम दीन जनाय च वित्तम. प्रैक्टिकल वे हमको अभी, अगर वी हैव टू स्टार्ट समवेयर, दीस 4 लाइंस ओनली एक्सप्लेन. थोड़ा अपना साधना भगवान का, मतलब वेरी सेस ना, वी डोंट नो द ग्रैंडर ऑफ द लॉर्ड. and हम उनसे क्या मांगने का वो भी नहीं पता. So that verse from Bhaja Govindam explains it. गेयं गीता नाम सहस्रं देयं श्रीपतिरूपमजस्रं नेयं सज्जन संगे चित्तं ध्येयं दीनजनाय च वित्तम्. रवि प्रैक्टिकल एक और हम ट्राई कर सकते हैं. रवि रिले इतने बहुत टाइम हो गया करके. इस बहाने अपना थोड़ा कुछ पढ़ना भी हो जाएगा.
ठीक है,
थिंक ओवर इट.
कर सकते
नॉट इन
हैं,
दिस स्टडी ग्रुप बट समथिंग वी कैन स्टार्ट.
कर सकते हैं.
वी टेक अ टेक्स्ट. एक रिले इतने हम लोग भी करते हैं तो एक एक पार्ट हम कुछ तो पढ़ते हैं ना. एटलीस्ट मैं तो करूंगी.
We can start with the same book that sir had suggested, autobiography of
Autobiography of a yogi.
Yes. तो we all can say कि आज 2 pages पढ़ने हैं. Not necessary that you have to complete 1 chapter, but कुछ भी आज वर्ल्ड बुक डे भी है, so we can do that शुभारंभ from today.
Start.
Take 2 chapter, take first 2 pages, only first 2 pages, और उसको अच्छे से पढ़ के let us at least start internalizing on it. What exactly, right from the preface, because वो book इतना अच्छा है. I've read it couple of times and every time I read it there's a new thought that weaves around. So let us start with autobiography of a yogi. पहले 2 pages पढ़ते हैं and let us put out our thoughts on the group. No, I mean हर किसी का अलग होता है. It would be nice to know how everyone thinks, what direction we are going, and sir is there to always guide us.
Also one more thing, मैं बहुत दिन से रवि पूछने वाली थी. वो एक मित्रानंद जी का बुक आया था, I had got it, Shorter Than Short Stories. Did you see that?
हाँ, मैंने देखा नहीं
उसके
पड़ा.
हाँ, I have that. वो 4 लाइन का ये
हाँ,
है, but everybody's view would be different. So weekly हम वो भी एक कर सकते हैं. Let's see everybody's, we can see perspective ना सबका.
ठीक. अभी के लिए तो मुझे लग रहा है ये जो अभी पैराग्राफ हमने पढ़ा ना, it has much more deeper meanings which maybe we'll have to take time to think over and then next week we can discuss.
Reread again. वो आज का thought था ना, it has to go through you.
Yes.
Correct.
Me.
Yes, should we close then for today?
Pledge कौन ले रहा है?
और किसी को कुछ बोलना है? राजू, विजू, रमाकांत अन्ना, भाग्यश्री दाई?
नहीं.
अश्विनी. हाँ, अश्विनी
अच्छा कंडक्ट किया है क्लास.
Thank you.
वीडियो भी ऑन कर अश्विनी, दिखेगा फिर कौन किसने लिया.
सुपरविजन अच्छा था अश्विनी का.
चलो
कौन ले रहा है प्लेज? कौन ले रहा है?
राजू.
हाँ, आज सर्वे भवन्तु पण लिहिन.
ओम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे
भद्राणि पश्यन्तु
मा कष्टं ओम सतो मा सत्तमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय. ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति.
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः.
We stand as one family, bound to each other with love and respect. We serve the Lord with discipline, ever ready to fight against all low tendencies and false values within and without us. We live honestly, the noble life of sacrifice and service, giving more than what we consume, and giving more than what we take. We seek the Lord's grace, keep us on the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom. May Thy grace and blessings flow to us, the world around us. We believe that the service of our country is the service of the Lord of Lords, and devotion to the people is the devotion to the Supreme Self. We know our responsibilities. Give us the ability, courage to fulfill them. Om Tat Sat.
रवि प्रीचिंग कब शुरू कर रहा है?
करता हूँ.
उत्कर्ष वेट कर रहा है.
हो गया उसका एग्जाम स्कूल
आपका